welcome to Follow Sport TV, a program presented by the Zimbabwe Theatre Academy, where we talk everything theatre in Zimbabwe. And today I'm honored to have another special guest who have walked the talk and have gone through the structures of Chipo. Welcome to the program, Chipo.
Thank you very much, Lloyd.
Yeah. Can you please introduce yourself?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm Chipo, Basopo, or Mama Chichi.
Mama Chichi, yeah.
A proud mother, okay. Yeah, and I'm into theatre. I'm into performing arts per se, because I think in Chipo we have learned everything. And I'm also an administrator in Chipo, so I'm the director for Chipo, but I'm also a performer as well, a writer, a director. I'm a performing arts lover.
You do everything.
I do everything in the industry.
Yeah, because I've known you more as an administrator. I think when you started, Chipo, there's Chipo. But where did this journey start, if you still remember?
I think I started when I was 6. Just preschool, when they discover you're good, but it wasn't something that I think my parents didn't want me to pursue that. But then at a later stage, I think due to my condition as well, I think it was a blessing in disguise. Because I was asthmatic, and then my dad was always being encouraged that I should exercise, so that I don't get regular attacks. But then at that time, I was doing traditional dance at school. So it was just traditional dance. That's when I saw Sekuruma Jeza.
Okay.
And then he said, you should come to Kuchitere. There's a center. There's this organization that's called Chipo. What? He started explaining all those things. But at first, when we went there, I think I was 9 years old. That's when I started Chipo at Chitere in Bari, because I stayed in Bari. But I learned it at Beni. But then... So when we went there with my friends, we just went there to see. But I think we got really excited by the program, because there was traditional dance, there was modern dance, there was marimba and bira, and that's how the journey started. From there onwards, we didn't stop.
So you've gone through the ranks of Chipo, I see.
Yes, I've gone through the ranks. Unfortunately, I didn't go through the ranks of Chipo as a lighty, like the little ones, because the age limit was about, I think, 7 years to 3 years, between 3 and 7. And then from age up to about 12, you are now in the junior. So I started from the level as a junior in Chipo. And then I went through the Rari Junior Theatre, I went through the youth theatre, and then until I then get to New Horizon Theatre in the youth programs, and then until I'm working in the organization. So yeah, I went through the ranks of Chipo, except for the ladies.
You're right. And you have traveled all over the world. I've seen Chipo on a lot of posters and information around the world. What have you been taking to the world?
I think mostly important what we've been taking is, you believe Kuti, children are the best ambassadors that each country can have, and they can explore and tell a lot about your country. So I was privileged to be able to do that as a child in Chipo, because it didn't take me much long. I think about in the next 2 years, then I started traveling with Chipo. We went for Images of Africa, we went to Denmark, and every time Chipo does a European festival tour, then we then go around other countries. If you're in Denmark, you go to Sweden, Finland, and then you start performing and doing exchange programs. So I was privileged to do that as a child. And I was also privileged to do that as a youth, and also as a teenager, and also as an administrator, now leading the children to such festivals. I think it's a great journey with a very a whole lot of opportunities and stuff.
No, so in Chipo, what do you really study in terms of theatre? Do you train theatre? But I know you've spoken about performing arts, but in Chipo, where is theatre centered?
It's centered on children, for children, by children. Yeah, mostly. So it's mostly the children that we train to be able to be performers in theatre. And also we train them also to become writers as well. So they develop their stories in Shona, whatever language they feel comfortable in. If they want to do it in English, we come up with drafts until we come up with the final scripts. But mostly of it's children performing for children and the families and stuff. And then when you are there then when you have finished school and you are part of the New Horizon Theatre Company, then you are being trained to become a professional theatre performer and also a director. To do the technicals, everything. So in Chipo, it's not only that you do theatre, you can be a theatre performer or you are trained to be into theatre, but you are also be able to encourage to do either one of the technicals.
So you're versatile. You're not only just coming for one thing.
Because I also, I was so much interested in light. So I've done a lot of lighting with Chipo.
And I know we did, I think, a regional tour. Went to Burkina Faso, Senegal together, performing for the early years. For the early years. Are you also incorporating early years within your practice?
Yes, I am doing that. But in Zimbabwe, it's something that people haven't really appreciated. You can agree with me because I think mostly it's only you and myself who always talks about early years theatre. I think Nenya Kuti, we really did learn a lot from that, and it really did open our minds and our creativity as well. But it's something that I'm incorporating within my trainings and my operations in Chipo, but we haven't really explored it yet the way it's supposed to be, but we are doing it.
So since you went to Chisere when you were 9, have you worked for other theatre companies or it was only only Chipo?
I always laugh. I've never worked for any theatre company here in Zimbabwe. But I remember there's one time when Uncle Steve did a play, the Rocky and Maneta one.
Yes.
And then they asked Mr. Guja that the character that one of the characters, I need Chipo to take part into that. I think that's the only production that I did outside Chipo. But the rest, I think it was just Chipo.
Wow. Which is quite interesting. How you've also gone into schools, but looking at Chipo, I know you've spoken about writing, directing, and acting, but which one in administering, which one do you think is more powerful? You like more to do, or you think you are inclined more to doing? Is it acting? Is it writing, directing? I know you do all of that at Chipo.
Yes, but mostly for me, the things that I really, really, really love is creating work with the children. That is the most thing that I love the most. I know I learn a lot. I've learned a lot, Kuchpao, the different things that I do, and I love them. Not that I don't love them, but I think more of me is centered on making sure I bring the best out of the children. So when I'm working with the children, I'm really into it, and we really make sure that we bring out the best. Even the kids knows that, and we actually work together so well. We develop our plays so well, and then when I'm writing for them, I'm really writing, and they actually see it. All our plays really come out. So for me, children, mostly when I'm engaging with the children and creating some work, even if it's songs, dances, and things that we want to include in our production, and just looking around our props, our costumes, and everything. I love it.
And then I know there are people who are out there who are watching who would want to take probably their career into theatre or performing arts. As somebody who has trained people over the years, young ones and Young Horizon, what advice do you have for somebody out there who like, oh, Chipo, I would also want to be part of this performing arts world in Zimbabwe? I
would just want to say to anyone who is watching, even the young, because usually what is happening is the young generation, they want quick bucks. And I'm married too much. Ndikatoita chakati, arikutozviona kuti Chipa ane chakati. So they would just think you can achieve that overnight, but which is not something that you can achieve overnight. You have to show kuti this is your passion, this is your career, and this is what you want. And also you have to have a vision as well. Kuti where am I going as a person? What am I doing such Chipo to be able to achieve all those things? And what also connection as well. Who are the people that I'm connecting with? Surround yourself with people with influence. Then I think you can be able to achieve anything.
I mean, this is great because I think in this first episode, we wanted to talk so much about you, and then probably we need to come and see you in the spaces. And maybe as you're watching Follow Sport, we're talking to Chipo, Basopo, I always call it Chipo Chipo.
Everyone say Chipo.
Yeah, and then maybe before we round out this program, what would you want to see being done for theatre and performing arts to develop in Zimbabwe? To say, I think, Lloyd, if we have this and this and this, I think our theatre or performing arts would develop in Zimbabwe.
I think there's a lot that has been said in terms of theatre is good develop in Zimbabwe, and we also theatre people have been saying it's a lot. But I think for now, what we need to do is, I think we have talked enough.
Yeah.
We need to action it.
Yeah.
We need to find ways amongst ourselves, because when we reach out and start doing things that we have talked about, then I'm sure the people around us will see how serious we are. But tikaramba tichingoti atina space, atina audience, but there's a young person, a musician who is coming up, with just one song, at only hits, at only following, actually akaita show, you find people going there. What makes us not do that? So I think it's time for us to walk the talk and talk less and do more of action.
So I think you've heard it from Chipo, who is the director of Chipo. Let's talk less and do more for the theatre or the creative and cultural industry in Zimbabwe to develop. It has been great talking to Chipo, and I've known her for quite some time as an administrative manager at Chipo, now directing their Lightest program, their youth program, their New Horizon, and they've been traveling all over the world with exporting works and culture from Zimbabwe. And in this first episode, we are glad to have had you, and hopefully we're going to come in and engage more to see when you're teaching, when you're writing, when you're performing, and probably take our cameramen to tour one of these days.
I know we have my uncles. We do aunties and uncles. Mama ngobisa sutu, monyazo ya muri mugia because we garamchona.
No, thank you so much, Chipo, for coming. We really appreciate it. And thank you so much for watching. You can follow us on the details that are appearing on the screen right now for other episodes that we've done before and for those that will also come. And thank you. Thank you both.